Why did you bring your paralyzed kid here? The single dad said on a blind date. The CEO smiled. The cafe buzzed softly with midweek chatter. The hum of espresso machines, the clinking of cups, the low jazz that filled awkward silences between strangers trying to connect. Ethan sat near the window, nervously adjusting his sleeves. He wasn't used to this, dating. Not since his wife passed 3 years ago. His world had shrunk to one small apartment, one steady job as a mechanic, and one beautiful reason to keep going. His 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Today was supposed to be about him. His sister had begged him to meet someone, saying, "Oh, you've forgotten how to smile. Ethan, maybe she'll remind you." Then the door opened. A woman stepped in, elegant yet simple, a gray sweater, jeans, and eyes that carried both calm and storms. Her name was Ava. Ethan stood, smiled nervously, and they shook hands. But before they could even sit down properly, Ethan noticed a small wheelchair rolling beside her. A little boy, maybe 6 years old, with a gentle face and curious eyes. Ethan froze. He hadn't expected this. He looked from the boy to Ava, confused. "I'm sorry," he said, trying to sound polite but failing. Why did you bring your paralyzed kid here? I thought this was a date." Ava didn't flinch. She just smiled. That kind of quiet, grounded smile that didn't break even under judgment. Because he's part of the table went silent. Ethan felt his stomach twist. He hadn't meant to sound cruel. It just came out wrong. The years of exhaustion, loneliness, and survival had hardened him more than he realized. Ava gently guided her son's wheelchair closer to the table. "This is Noah," she said with quiet pride. "He wanted to see what a blind date looks like. I told him it's when two people meet to see if they can make each other smile." Noah giggled, his voice light. "Mom says if the man is nice, she'll buy him a muffin." Ethan managed a small laugh despite himself. "I like muffins," he said awkwardly, trying to recover from his earlier tone. "Hey, Noah, I'm Ethan." The boy grinned. "Hi, Ethan. You look nervous. Are you scared of my wheels?" That hit harder than it should have. Ethan shook his head. "Nobody, just surprised." As the minutes passed, something unexpected began to happen. The tension dissolved. Noah's laugh was contagious, and Ava's warmth, the way she spoke, listened, and noticed the smallest details, reminded Ethan of something he hadn't felt in years: peace. They talked about everything: life, work, their kids. When Ava learned about Lily, Ethan's daughter, her eyes softened. "Single parents are superheroes," she said quietly. "We just forget our capes sometimes." He smiled at that. For the first time in a long time, he felt seen. When the waiter brought their food, Noah accidentally knocked over his drink. The orange juice spilled everywhere, dripping down the table. Ethan instinctively grabbed napkins and helped clean up. Ava started apologizing, but Ethan stopped her. "It's okay," he said, smiling at Noah. "Happens to me all the time. I'm the clumsiest guy you'll ever meet." The boy giggled again, and Ava looked at him, really looked at him, with something new in her eyes: respect, maybe even admiration. After lunch, they stepped outside. The air was cool, the sky washed in soft gold. Ethan crouched down beside Noah. "Hey, champ, you like cars?" The boy's face lit up. "I love cars." Ethan's smile widened. "Tell you what, come by my garage sometime. I'll let you sit in a real race car." "Deal?" Noah gasped. "Deal." Ava was quiet for a moment, watching them. "You didn't have to offer that," she said softly. Ethan shrugged. "Maybe not, but I wanted to." Then something in Ava's tone shifted, calm but curious. "You know, Ethan," she said, "before I came here, I almost canceled. People usually look at Noah and see a burden. Not a person." Ethan's eyes met hers. "Then they're blind in all the ways that matter." She smiled, that same steady, knowing smile. "You're not what I expected." Weeks passed. What started as one awkward date turned into late-night phone calls, shared dinners, and afternoons at the park, where Lily pushed Noah's wheelchair like it was a chariot. The two kids became inseparable, laughter echoing through every moment. Ethan and Ava grew closer too, though he still didn't know much about her work. She always brushed it off when he asked, saying, let's talk about you for once." Then one morning, a black car pulled up to Ethan's small garage. A man in a suit stepped out, handed him an envelope, and said, "Ms. Ava Kingsley asked me to deliver this." Ethan frowned. Inside was a check, far too large, and a handwritten note. "You once told me you dream of expanding your garage to teach kids about cars. Consider this a small start. Ava." He blinked in disbelief. Kingsley, Ava Kingsley, the CEO of Kingsley Motors, one of the biggest luxury car companies in the country. The woman he'd called just Ava, the one who showed up at a small cafe with her paralyzed son, was one of the most powerful women in the auto industry. He didn't know whether to feel humbled or foolish, but then he thought about that first day, about how she smiled when he asked that awful question, and he realized she'd never cared about status or judgment. She'd only cared about truth. A few days later, Ava visited his garage again. Noah rolled in ahead of Ava, looked around, taking in the space. The smell of oil, the hum of tools, the old posters on the wall. Everything that screamed Ethan's world. She smiled softly. "You've done a lot here." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck, still a little awkward. "Not as much as I want to, but I'm working on it." Noah wheeled himself closer to a small red car in the corner. "Is this the race car you talked about?" "Yep," Ethan grinned. "Want to sit in it?" Noah's eyes widened. "Can I?" Ava stepped forward instinctively. "Ethan, I don't know if—" He interrupted gently, kneeling beside Noah. "It's safe. I'll lift him in." Ava hesitated, but then saw the sparkle in her son's eyes, the kind of joy that didn't come often. She nodded. Ethan carefully lifted Noah into the driver's seat. The boy's hands rested on the steering wheel like it was a crown. His whole face lit up. "Mom, look! I'm driving!" Ava laughed, eyes glistening. "You sure are, sweetheart." Ethan stood beside them, arms folded, smiling quietly. For him, it was more than just a sweet moment. It was healing. He'd spent so long keeping people out, afraid of loss, afraid of being hurt again. But watching them here, seeing Noah's happiness and Ava's tenderness, it felt like life was finally opening its arms again. Noah turned to Ethan. "When I grow up, I want to build cars like you." Ethan chuckled. "Then you better promise to come help me in the garage." "Promise," Noah said proudly, raising his little hand for a high five. Ethan met it without hesitation. Later, after Ava had helped Noah back into his chair, she turned to Ethan. "You really didn't have to do all this," she said softly. "I didn't," he replied. "I wanted to. That's the difference." Ava looked down, taking a quiet breath. "You know, when my husband left after Noah's accident, I thought I'd never trust anyone again. Everyone looked at us with pity or discomfort. But you just looked at us." Ethan's voice was low, steady. "Maybe that's because I know what it feels like to lose everything. And still have to show up every day like you're fine." They stood in silence for a moment, two broken souls recognizing each other. Not through words, but through understanding. Then Ava smiled, that same soft, meaningful smile she had the first day they met. Maybe this blind date wasn't such a bad idea after all. Ethan laughed lightly. "I guess your son's the best wingman I've ever met." From across the garage, Noah shouted, "I heard that!" All three of them burst out laughing, the kind of laughter that fills the air with life again. Months later, the garage had transformed. A new sign hung above the door. "Lily and Noah's Auto Dreams, a garage that builds more than cars."